What if you don't call, sweetheart? Then just make the Sunday tea anyway, as if I'm still there. That was the last thing I said to my mother, before boarding the plane for an undisclosed military operation. But to understand why that goodbye mattered so much, you need to know who they thought I was, and how they found out the truth I'd hidden for over 10 years. At the very dinner where they introduced me as just the one who moves boxes in the army. My name is Amanda Graves. I'm 36. To my family, I've always been the quiet one, the middle child, not quite a star like Kyle, my younger brother, CEO of a hotel chain before he turned 30. Not as brilliant as Lauren, my younger sister, the golden girl with a Harvard degree and a neurosurgery fellowship. Just Amanda, the one who works in logistics for the military. They never asked for details, and I never offered any. We grew up in a polished home on the edge of D.C., glass staircase, summer garden parties, framed degrees in every hallway. My parents, Grace and William Graves, built their legacy like a brand. And their children. We were products meant to reflect that brand. Lauren with her perfect LinkedIn, Kyle with his magazine spreads, and me, I graduated from a state university, didn't post much on Facebook, didn't attend every Christmas, because most of those Decembers, I wasn't even in the country. I told them I worked behind a desk. They believed me. They never imagined that desk had triple encryption, 2 direct lines to intelligence command, and a red phone that rang without warning. You see, for over a decade, I served as a strategic intelligence officer for the U.S. Army. Rank, Lieutenant Colonel. Focus, cyber warfare, high-risk hostage extractions, satellite surveillance. I've spent nights in bunkers under foreign soil. Sat inside drone trailers while entire cities blinked beneath a radar screen. I've written the protocols that decided who got extracted and who didn't. And I've carried a bullet in my shoulder from a mission that no one in my family even knows existed. Not because I didn't want them to care, but because they never really asked. The dinner was held at the Langston Grand, a place with polished marble floors, hand-tied chandeliers, and waiters who never broke eye contact. It was my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. They reserved the entire ballroom. I arrived 10 minutes early, an old habit from deployment briefings, wore a navy dress, clean lines, no jewelry, my hair tied back, my movements calm. The maitre d' led me to our table, center of the room, white linens, gold-rimmed glassware. I took a seat at the far end, always the far end. 15 minutes later, they swept in like royalty. Dad in his custom charcoal suit, eyes scanning the room like it belonged to him. Mom in champagne silk, her expression already rehearsed. Kyle followed, laughing loudly with 2 cousins. Lauren kissed cheeks and complimented earrings she'd never remember. And then Chloe, Lauren's daughter. 16. Quiet, sharp. She looked up from her phone for a split second. Our eyes met. I didn't think anything of it. Not yet. We got through the salads. Then came the family ritual, status updates. Kyle went first. Closed a deal with a resort group in Lisbon. Glasses clinked, Dad beamed, Lauren followed. New pediatric neurology paper coming out next month. Applause, Aunt Denise called her a genius, then silence. Everyone turned to me. The part of the script where I nod, smile, and say, just the usual, quiet office stuff. But I didn't get the chance. Uncle Robert leaned forward. Still pushing paper and logistics, Amanda. Before I could answer, Kyle chuckled. Hey, if you ever want to do real strategy, my company's hiring. We're even thinking of bringing in AI. Lauren added, you know, I think I saw a job opening at our admin department. It's fully remote, good benefits. Even Mom chimed in gently. You always were steady, not flashy but dependable. Like I was a filing cabinet, Dad just raised his glass. To Amanda, the one who keeps our family grounded. They laughed, I smiled. That kind of smile they mistake for gratitude. The kind you learn in interrogations when your face has to hold steady while your chest burns. And then I noticed Chloe. She wasn't laughing. She was staring, eyes narrowed, fingers frozen on her phone. And just like that, she said it. Wait, are you that Lieutenant Colonel Graves from the cyber command talk at my school? The one who ran the Havana intercept mission? A silence. Like a pin dropped into crystal, my fork froze, Kyle blinked, Dad's glass stopped midair. Lauren's eyes widened. Chloe kept going. You said you tracked the satellites. You shut down that whole ghost network. That was you, right? Nobody at that table knew what to say. Because for the first time in 10 years, someone had seen me, not as the quiet one, not the logistics girl, but for who I really was. And it wasn't even me who broke the silence. It was a child. For a moment, I thought maybe they didn't hear her. Maybe Chloe's voice got lost beneath the piano music, or maybe no one wanted to believe her. But then I saw Mom's hand start to shake, just a little. Her water glass trembled against the linen napkin. Kyle's brow furrowed, like he'd misread a memo. Lauren turned sharply, her smile gone. Dad's eyes locked on me with an intensity I hadn't seen since I was 12. "Amanda," he said. "What is she talking about?" I didn't answer right away, not because I was hiding, but because, for 10 years, I hadn't spoken that truth out loud in this room, so I reached into my handbag, slowly, calmly, and slid out a small leather case. I opened it and placed it in the center of the table, right between the dessert menus and the wine list. The gold badge caught the chandelier light. U.S. Army Intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Amanda Graves. Strategic Command Division. No one said a word. Lauren was the first to reach for it. Her hands, so steady in the operating room, trembled now. "Is this real?" I nodded. "You've been doing this the whole time," she whispered, "and you let us think you pushed boxes." Dad picked it up next, inspected it like it was a puzzle that shouldn't exist. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because you never asked," I said. Kyle scoffed, half laugh, half defense. "Wait, so what? You're some kind of military hacker now." I looked at him. "I'm not a hacker. I'm a senior intelligence officer. I've led drone recovery missions, overseen surveillance sweeps across 3 continents, and last spring, I helped prevent a targeted biological strike on U.S. soil. That PowerPoint Chloe saw, it was declassified 2 months ago." He blinked. "So, you're actually out there doing real things." "No, Kyle, I'm out there doing dangerous things. Things that don't make it to the group chat." Mom finally spoke, her voice cracked. "Why didn't you trust us with this?" I turned to her, gently. "It wasn't about trust, Mom. It was about safety. My job involves encrypted servers, confidential informants, live threats. But after a while, it wasn't just protocol. It became easier to let you underestimate me than to ask for your respect." That one landed hard. Lauren looked down. Kyle went silent. Dad just stared. And then Chloe smiled, wide, proud, innocent. "You're a superhero, Aunt Amanda. You don't need a cape." I smiled back just a little. But inside, something loosened. Not victory, just relief. They finally saw me. And I didn't have to raise my voice to be visible. 2 days after the dinner, I invited them over. Not to impress, not to explain, just to allow something I'd never let happen before to be seen on my terms. The living room in my Georgetown condo was modest but warm. Bookshelves lined with operational theory and silent memoirs. A single commendation plaque from a mission no one was supposed to survive, tucked on a shelf between a photo of my dog and an old teacup Mom once gave me. Lauren walked in first, holding Chloe's hand. Kyle followed, quieter than usual. Then Mom and Dad. They stood there, eyes scanning the space like they were seeing my life for the first time, not the version they'd imagined, but the one that had always been here. I brought out tea, no speeches, no slideshow, and then Mom noticed it. A small framed photo on the end table, me in uniform, shoulder-wrapped, sitting on a medevac cot, still holding the mission drive. "Is this real?" she asked. I nodded. "Syria, 3 years ago, we were extracting a hostage. I triggered a tripwire, partially shielded it but caught the shrapnel in my shoulder. I stood and slowly pulled the collar of my sweater aside. The scar was still there. Jagged. Pale, permanent, no one said anything. Mom covered her mouth, her eyes filling. Lauren stared, not as a doctor, but as a sister. Kyle just whispered, "You never even told us." I said I was on leave, I replied. "It was easier than trying to convince you I wasn't broken." We sat in silence for a while, the kind that doesn't need to be filled. Then I told them, I'm leaving Monday, another deployment, high priority. How long? Lauren asked. Unknown. Will you be safe? Mom asked, her voice barely holding. I'll be smart, I said. When they got up to leave, Mom lingered by the door. She reached into her purse and pulled out something small, a folded napkin. Inside it was a tea bag. It's your favorite blend, she said softly. Sunday mornings, I'll make a cup, whether you're here or not. I took it gently. My fingers brushed hers. And for the first time in my adult life, my mother hugged me first. The morning I left, the sky was still dark. The city was quiet. No cameras, no goodbyes at the airport. But when I opened my phone before boarding, I saw one unread message. From Kyle. Just wanted to say, you're the strongest person in this family. Come back soon, or don't just keep doing what you do. We finally see you now. And that was enough. Because when you spend years fighting in silence, being seen, truly seen, isn't about noise or recognition. It's about one moment, where the people who never asked finally understand. You were never invisible. You were just busy saving lives. Quietly, Monday, 4:30 hours. The base was quiet, just the way I liked it before a mission. Fog rolled across the runway like a second skin. I stood beside my gear. A single black duffel, reinforced with fiber panels. No name tags, no insignia, just function, just readiness. I'd done this 100 times, but this time I wasn't carrying a secret. As the transport aircraft rumbled awake, I checked my phone one last time. No updates, no news, just a photo. Chloe had texted me the night before. A candid shot from our dinner, me pouring tea, her watching. She'd written, "You looked calm here. I hope you feel that way wherever you're going." I saved it to a secure folder and smiled. As I climbed the ramp, Agent Rios, my new second-in-command, nodded. "You ready, Colonel?" "Always," I said. He didn't know I'd just spent the weekend explaining a decade of silence in under 2 days. He didn't need to. He only needed to know that I was sharp, clear, and back in the field. We took off just before sunrise. The city faded beneath cloud cover. Washington's lights flickered like stars refusing to sleep. I leaned back in the seat, tucked the tea bag my mother gave me into a side pocket. A simple reminder that this time, when I returned, there would be someone brewing a cup, waiting, not because I'd asked them to, but because they finally understood what it meant when I didn't come home for Christmas, why I was quiet at dinners, why I didn't need validation to be whole. And for the first time in years, I felt light. Not because the mission was easy. It wouldn't be. Not because I was fearless. I was. But because I was no longer carrying the weight of being unseen. The uniform never changed. But something in me had, because they saw me now, and more importantly, I saw myself. For those of us who have been underestimated, you don't need to prove anything to be powerful. Just stay ready. Stay steady, and when the time comes, let them realize the truth on their own.